lessons, and the proceeds help the center care for orphaned animals. A panel of judges consisting of celebrities, surf pros, and dog lovers judge the pups on the length of their ride, the wave technique, and their enthusiasm and confidence on the board.
Finally, knock, knock. Who's there? Woody. Woody who? Woody Woodpecker. A homeowner in Arizona got a knock on the Ring doorbell. The woodpecker set off the motion sensor and recorded the intruder. Hey, Woody. The sign says no solicitors.
And that's the edition of the News Hounds Now update.
That dog does not look happy. 5 starts right now.
And right now at 5, residents in southwestern Wisconsin are cleaning up after flooding hit their communities. We'll hear from a man who almost lost his home.
Father William Nolan is found not guilty of sexually assaulting a child. What he's saying to his accuser.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at 5.
And thanks for staying with News 3 Now. Grant County residents are still cleaning up their homes and their yards after severe storm damage. Gabriella
Becerra shows us how one resident worked through the night to save his home.
We were actually home making supper. All of a sudden it started raining. I looked outside and I'm like, oh my God. I said, look at our yard. It's gone.
Roger Halverson lives off Highway 133.
Look at my yard.
Which runs through Woodman.
They told us last night to evacuate. As much water was here. And I said, I'm not leaving my home. I said, I got my 3 dogs, my cat, and my girlfriend in the house. I said, I'm not leaving my home.
So Halverson stayed.
I was out there standing and I had water up to my waist.
And tried to save his home.
Came down that hill just fiercely. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do? I had water coming out of my septic tank and I'm like, so I called 911 and I just had him come in here with the fire trucks, tried to help everybody, tried to help me out.
Highway 133 is the same road that caused the Bosco Bell School to close today.
We had impassable roads as of 9 o'clock, 9:30 last night. The county had gotten hold of us and said that there's some really washed out mudslide issues. There was a culvert that was out in an area and that our buses would have a hard time getting through that area, even if they worked through the night.
He said he hasn't seen school canceled from flooding before.
That was odd because it was that time of the year and not snowfall, so unfortunate, but we'd rather keep people safe.
Halverson says the same about his home.
I had water damage done 2 years ago behind the house 2 years ago, but nothing this severe.
And is hoping it won't happen again.
I got a beautiful home. I don't want to lose my home because of an act of nature. Yeah. That's what you call it, and I'm like, what am I supposed to do?
In Grant County, Gabriella Becerra, News 3 Now.
In Crawford County, the mayor in Prairie du Chien has declared a state of emergency following the flooding last night. This video was taken last night near the Walmart store there. The Crawford County Sheriff's Department warned on Facebook that most of the county's roads had been impacted by severe weather. Parts of Highway 35 closed from Prairie du Chien to Highway 171.
There are also reports of flooding in Richland County. This was sent in by viewer Jackson Kinney. He says the water is continuing to rise about 5 miles north of Blue River.
So everybody needs a chance to dry out a bit. Let's get a look at your first alert. Weather Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti joining us on the weather patio. Gary?
Well, I think that there's some good news there. If we get any rain over the weekend, it'll be light, it'll be brief, and not all of us will see it. And after that, it looks like we'll see dry weather into the middle of next week. Let's take a look, first of all, at visible cloud track. The showers and storms from last night have headed off to the east. The clouds that have been overhead today have not really been producing any precipitation. In fact, Doppler track shows Wisconsin free of precipitation right now, as is much of the upper Midwest. So that will give us some time to dry out. Temperatures, though, are cooler. We've had a cold front come through. Right now here in Madison, we're at 65. Milwaukee's at 70. Temperatures are in the lower 60s to our north, but those dew point temperatures have dropped off quite a bit into the lower 50s. The air has dried out. We're seeing winds in the 10 to 20 mile per hour range, a few higher gusts up to around 30 miles per hour in spots, but those will die down a bit overnight. Otherwise, look for skies to become mostly clear overnight. Temperatures will drop off to the lower 50s by tomorrow morning. For tomorrow, look for a mostly sunny and mild day with a high temperature of 76. That's your News 3 Now First Alert forecast.
Gary, thank you. A former priest from Fort Atkinson says he is relieved tonight.
A jury found him not guilty on 5 charges in Jefferson County Court today. Rose Schmidt has covered William Nolan's trial all week, and she spoke with him.
Father William Nolan says this week the 5-day child sexual assault trial has been, quote, very, very stressful. But he tells me he is relieved to be acquitted. Now, the accuser's family declined to comment to us at this time. Nolan was acquitted of 5 charges today after he was accused of sexually assaulting an altar boy more than 100 times about a decade ago. Nolan says he has to talk with the diocese, but he does want to return to ministry, but not on a full-time basis. I asked Nolan what he wants to say to the accuser.
You know, I'm a Catholic priest and I'm supposed to forgive, and I think I can do that, but I'll never forget. I'll never forget the way he has ruined my life.
There were cheers and hugs in the courtroom from Nolan's family and many of his longtime parishioners. We briefly spoke with his niece, who says she's glad he's finally free. Now, Nolan tells me that he does not plan on going back to Our Lady Queen of Peace Parish, which is where he had been practicing on a fill-in basis before his arrest.
All right, Rose Schmidt in Jefferson County. Rose, thank you. Sheriff's officials in northwestern Wisconsin say the stabbing death of a woman and a fatal traffic crash are related. The Barron County Sheriff's Department received a call Thursday morning reporting the death of 22-year-old Audra Poppy. She had been stabbed in a mobile home in Cameron. Authorities say that mobile home belonged to 21-year-old Eldon Jackson, who died in a traffic crash hours before Poppy's body was found. Sheriff's officials say Jackson was driving Poppy's car when he crossed the center line and collided head-on with a dump truck on Highway 8 near Barron. Investigators say they are not looking for suspects in Poppy's death.
Madison police are looking for a driver who hit a man who was crossing the street last night and then left him in the middle of the road on the city's north side.
Investigators don't have any leads. They're looking for help from anyone who might have been near Northport Drive around 10 o'clock or has seen a damaged vehicle today. Our Amanda Quintana joins us. She has more details. Amanda?
The 60-year-old man who was hit has life-threatening injuries, and police say this could turn into a homicide case. But right now, investigators don't have much to go on. The surveillance footage they do have only shows a dark-colored car, and no witnesses have come forward. The first to discover him were drivers.
We had a number of concerned drivers who pulled over after seeing a body in the middle of the roadway on Northport Drive. They didn't see what happened. They just saw this body in the middle of the road, and so they used their cars to sort of block off an area around this person so he didn't get hit again.
Police are looking for other camera angles and drivers who were in that area, hoping the person who did this maybe realizes how serious it was and comes forward, or someone sees the car with new front end damage and turns it in. Joel Despain telling me he believes eventually this person will be found.
Hopefully get some answers. Amanda Quintana reporting. Amanda, thank you.
Thank you, Amanda. 2 of 3 people who ran after stealing and then crashing a luxury SUV on Madison's north side were arrested last night. Madison police, along with the State Patrol, were chasing a stolen 2017 Jaguar F-Pace last night. Police say the vehicle crashed into a mailbox near a dead end on Knutson Drive. 3 men ran. Police established a perimeter, and canine teams from Dane County and the city of Madison were sent into a wooded and marshy area. 22-year-old Devontae Anthony of Madison and 22-year-old Shondale James of Beloit were found hiding in the marsh. They were taken into custody. Both men face multiple charges. Police are continuing to search for a 3rd suspect.
Madison man convicted of persuading a 14-year-old Tennessee girl to record a rape and then send a video to him has been sentenced. A federal judge sentenced Brian Rogers to 11 years, 3 months in prison, along with 15 years extended supervision. Officials say the 14-year-old girl was reported missing from her home in Tennessee back in January, was then found at Rogers' home in Madison 18 days later. The girl reportedly was being sexually assaulted by her adoptive father. She told Rogers about it in an exchange of messages through an online game app. Court documents say Rogers then asked her to send a video of the rape, which she did, but he did not bring that video to police. Instead, he brought her to Wisconsin.
An off-campus religious lunch program, which sparked some student protests 3 years ago in Middleton, excuse me, has expanded to 2 additional school districts. The Jesus Lunch program is now being offered in Verona and Madison. It is run independently of area schools and provides a free lunch to high school students while sharing a biblical message. Organizers are hosting the program on Mondays to students at Memorial High School at a location near the school. Organizers will serve students who attend Verona High School on Wednesdays at Harriet Park. The Middleton Jesus Lunch program will still be on Tuesdays. Organizers and those who attended the lunch said the purpose was to create a safe space for students.
Protesters gathered at the Capitol today to oppose the proposed Cardinal Hickory Creek transmission line. Driftless defenders are against that proposed line. The $500 million power line would run more than 100 miles across southwestern Wisconsin, adding towers from Dubuque through Middleton. Protesters say that line would not help meet the governor's goal of Wisconsin being carbon-free by the year 2050. The protesters are asking Iowa County residents to attend the county board meeting on Tuesday to appeal that transmission line.
There's a new sculpture near Camp Randall Stadium paying tribute to a well-known Madison artist. Harry Whitehorse belonged to the Ho-Chunk Nation. He was a World War II naval veteran, owned an auto body shop for 45 years, and was best known for his extraordinary artwork and creativity. Before he passed in December of 2017, Whitehorse created the model for the new Badger sculpture, and that's now in the plaza where Monroe and Regent Streets intersect.
I am so grateful, and I know that many of us in the city are grateful for the efforts that are underway to tell the story of the Ho-Chunk people and their connection to this land that we all live on.
The sculpture dedication service today included singing and drumming, Ho-Chunk dancers, and the Sanford White Eagle Post 556 color guard in honor of Whitehorse's World War II service.
Tonight's Prep Mania High School football game of the week at Mansfield Stadium. Middleton at Memorial. Jay Wilson, Bill Brophy, Al Minert bringing the game live tonight, 7 o'clock, channel3000.com. We'll also have 3 other games live. Edgewood at Oregon, Fort Atkinson at Stoughton, and Milton at Monona Grove. That's all tonight, starting at 7. Again, channel3000.com. More to come on News 3 Now at 5. Up next, actress Felicity Huffman has been sentenced following her role in the college admissions scandal. How long she will be behind bars.
And then coming up tonight at 6, there's a new way for students in Verona to submit crime information. How district officials are collecting it to increase safety.
On Wall Street, the markets closed the week with a 37-point jump for the Dow. The Nasdaq falls 18. The S&P 500 off 2. We'll be right back. A publicist for rock star Eddie Money says the performer has died after the recent announcement that he had been battling stage 4 esophageal cancer. The husky-voiced, blue-collar performer was known for such hits as 2 Tickets to Paradise and Take Me Home Tonight. Back in 1987, he received a Best Rock Vocal Grammy nomination for Take Me Home Tonight, which featured a cameo from Ronnie Spector. Actress Felicity Huffman will serve time for her part in the massive college admissions scandal. The judge sentenced Huffman to 14 days behind bars. The Desperate Housewives star pleaded guilty to fraud and conspiracy charges back in May after paying a proctor $15,000 in 2017 to help boost her daughter's SAT scores. In a letter ahead of her sentencing, the 56-year-old said, quote, "I talked myself into believing that all I was doing was giving my daughter a fair shot."
Felicity Huffman accepted responsibility first, always, often, and she pleaded guilty and immediately cooperated with the prosecutor.
Huffman, one of dozens of parents charged with paying mastermind Rick Singer's organization to get their children into elite universities. Lori Loughlin and her husband are facing fraud and money laundering charges for paying $500,000 to get their daughters into USC as members of the crew team. Both have pleaded not guilty.
The Democrats running for president went to Texas for the 3rd debate leading to the 2020 race for the White House. The debate in Houston was intended to narrow the field. Candidates had to reach polling and fundraising benchmarks in order to qualify. Only 10 did, putting all of the leading candidates on the same stage for the first time. This time around, the second-tier candidates looking for an opening to climb in the polls largely avoided criticizing top runner Joe Biden, targeting President Trump instead.
Houston, we have a problem. We have a guy there that is literally running our country like a game show. You've spent the last 2.5 years full-time trying to sow hate and division among us, and that is why we've gotten nothing done.
The Democratic candidates are scheduled to meet for 9 more debates between now and May. A 16-year-old climate change activist brought her message and hundreds of other young demonstrators to the White House in a rally to demand action. Swedish teenager Greta Thunberg arrived in the U.S. 2 weeks ago after sailing on a zero-emissions yacht from Europe. The protest comes as multiple polls show more Americans disapprove of President Trump's handling of climate change. Thunberg has been invited to testify before a House panel next week on Capitol Hill. Later this month, she'll speak at the United Nations Climate Summit in New York.
The National Hurricane Center has upgraded the disturbance near the Bahamas to Tropical Depression 9. The depression, about 240 miles southeast of Freeport, Grand Bahama. Maximum sustained winds 30 miles per hour right now. The NHC says the depression is expected to become a tropical storm within the next 24 hours and will bring tropical storm force winds and heavy rainfall and scattered flash flooding possible this weekend along the coast of Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina as well. And boy, does that part of the world need a chance to dry out, and we do as well. Here's Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti looking at our weekend. Gary.
I was just going to say, this is an area that needs some time to dry out after tremendous amounts of rain over the last couple of days. The severe weather threat, for the most part, stayed to our south and to our west last night. Tornado touchdown near Decorah, Iowa, but across southern Wisconsin, it was mainly just wind damage reports. But rain, that was another story. This is the 48-hour precipitation totals, and you can see some amounts around 3 to 6 inches down toward the Illinois state line, and especially over parts of Crawford and western Grant County out toward the Mississippi River. Now, that's just over the last 48 hours. You add in the previous 3 days, take a look at these totals. I mean, basically, the southern and western parts of our viewing area had a good 3 to as much as 9 inches or more of rain from just south of La Crosse through Grant County, south of Madison, through Janesville, and down into parts of northern Illinois. So we need time to dry out. I mean, that's about 2 months worth of rain for this time of year in 5 days. Doppler track right now, though, free of precipitation. That's good news. A wider view. Very little in the way of rain anywhere around here. The showers and thunderstorms from yesterday now pushing through Detroit and heading into Ontario and Canada. That's good news. If we take a look at visible cloud track, we've had some buildups of clouds, but that's just cold air aloft. The air near the ground is also cool, so we haven't had enough instability to pop up some showers. Live view from the WISC Skycam, it looks like rain out there, but these clouds have not been able to produce any rain because they're not that thick. The live view from the Edgewater Skycam in downtown Madison showing the boats on the southern end of Lake Mendota, but it is a chilly and breezy day out there. there. High temperature only 71, low 64. And we've been sitting in the 60s most of the afternoon. We're at 65 right now. The humidity is 61%. The dew point temperature is at 51 degrees. Now, as we take a look at current temperatures, they're in the 50s in northern Wisconsin and mid-60s here. Milwaukee, the warm spot at 70 degrees. So that gives you an indication. We're a little more fall-like compared to the warm and humid weather we've had over the last couple of days. Dew point temperatures, though, have come down significantly. They're in the upper 40s to the lower 50s. That allows the air to dry out, so the standing water will have a chance to evaporate somewhat. But the winds are pretty brisk. We have the jet stream almost right over us, and that's just bringing in strong westerly winds, but that's also helping to dry out the air. The tail end of the cold front producing some thunderstorms down into Oklahoma and Arkansas. There's that tropical depression in the Bahamas. Latest forecast track from the National Hurricane Center actually keeps it off the Florida coast, strengthens it into a hurricane, but heads it more toward Bermuda out in the Atlantic Ocean rather than bringing it closer to the U.S. coast, which is good news. But any additional rain in the Bahamas and in Florida, not good news there. Right now, high pressure is located just to our south and west. It's breezy and cool here. Ahead of the cold front, temperatures are in the 90s into parts of southern Ohio. Behind the front, those temperatures drop into the 50s and 60s. That's where we are. And the dew point temperatures, again, have dropped significantly. The 70-degree dew points we had yesterday being replaced by 50-degree dew points. So the air has dried out. These clouds will dissipate overnight. Then look for sunny skies for tomorrow. Next weather system now looking a little weaker, so just a slight chance of a shower or thunderstorm tomorrow night into early on Sunday morning. And then after that, dry weather for Sunday. Even though it'll turn warm and more humid, take a look out to the west. You can see very little in the way of cloud cover, so we have several dry days in the forecast for next week. Tonight, partly cloudy skies. This evening will turn clear and cooler overnight, low dropping to 53. For tomorrow, look for mostly sunny skies and a milder day, high temperature back up at 76. As we take a look at future track, those clouds again dissipating overnight as the sun goes down, the atmosphere stabilizes. Lows in the lower 50s, highs tomorrow mid-70s. Winds become more southerly, and that'll bring temperatures up into the lower 60s for lows tomorrow night. Again, a chance for a shower or thunderstorm, but those will be out of the way early on Sunday. Sunshine returns. Temperature should be back close to 80 by Sunday afternoon. 7 to 10-day forecast. You can see those temperatures in the low 80s for next week. It also will be a little bit humid too, but as we head into the following or toward the end of next week, temperatures will cool down back into the 70s with a chance for a shower or a thunderstorm. As we take a look at first alert traffic right now, here's the view on the Beltline at Park Street. Of course, a Friday, everybody trying to head out of town. That's the eastbound Beltline looking pretty slow right now. In fact, delays on the eastbound Beltline from around Monona Drive back to Verona Road. Westbound, some delays between about Fish Hatchery Road and John Nolan Drive. Right now, 24 minutes on the eastbound Beltline from University Avenue to the interstate, 18 minutes back in the westbound direction. If you're heading out of Madison to the south, the I-39-90 corridor down to Janesville from the Beltline, 28-minute trip there. It's 23 minutes to Sauk City on US 12 heading out of the Madison area toward Wisconsin Dells, and then 18 minutes to Sun Prairie on US 151. That's your News 3 Now First Alert Traffic.
All right, thanks, Gary.
Still ahead on News 3 Now at 5. The first treatment for food allergies could soon receive the green light. We'll explain after a short break. Federal Food and Drug Administration is assessing a new drug aimed at treating peanut allergies in children.
It's called Palforzia, and it works by exposing kids to pharmaceutical-grade peanut protein. According to the Washington Post, the drug could pave the way for a new generation of therapies that reduce allergies by desensitizing patients. Research shows 67% of children and teens treated with it were able to tolerate the equivalent of 2 peanuts, but 20% discontinued treatment because 10% had adverse effects or side effects and reactions.
That same low dose would then not trigger an allergic reaction, or at least would minimize the severity of an allergic reaction.
One problem with the drug is its high rate of side effects. 1 in 10 of the people taking it during a trial had to stop because it caused abdominal pain, vomiting, or allergic reactions that required epinephrine to stop. The company that makes the treatment is also working on a therapy for people with egg allergies.
Eating lots of cookies could get you lots of cash. Nabisco releasing a limited edition Oreo that looks like the original but tastes completely different. Now, the mystery flavor will hit stores September 16th. Each package will have one of 3 clues, and you'll have a chance to win $50,000 if you can guess the flavor. You might remember back in 2017, they had a mystery flavor as well, and that year it was Fruity Pebbles cereal Oreo. Remember we had those in the newsroom?
Yeah, that's right, we did. Yeah.
Everybody was trying to figure out what was going on with those Oreos. All right, stay with us. We're going to have another check your weekend forecast in just a moment.
Tonight on the CBS Evening News, with the Bahamas facing another tropical storm, we're with U.S. Navy veterans bringing help to villages neglected by their government. Plus, new research provides some answers on why vaping can be so dangerous. And Steve Hartman on a call to police that led to one remarkable journey. That's all tonight on the CBS Evening News.
Gary's here now. Good football weather tonight.
Yeah, and dry weather. That's what we need more than anything else right now after all the rain. But you can see on Doppler track, no rain anywhere around us. So that's good not only for tonight, but for tomorrow as well. Temperatures a little on the cool side, mid-60s, but you know, after being in the 70s and 80s with high humidity the last couple of days, it feels much nicer. See those dew point temperatures now in the lower 50s. Winds a little brisk out of the west, about 10 to 20 miles per hour, but look for temperatures to be mid-70s tomorrow, around 80 on Sunday, a little more humidity early next week.
All right, CBS Evening News coming your way next. We'll be back in 30 minutes for News 3 Now at 6.